So I'm Reverend Catherine Butt, and I'm the vicar of St.Frideswide, Eaton, an Anglican church here in Bletchley.
Yes. My name's Rob. I'm secretary to the Joint Church Council, and the Joint Church Council represents the two churches that share the building. But I'm also an architect.
We recently had a project where we have put solar panels on the roof, as you can see behind us, and have had an air source heat pump installed as part of a one system to help us reduce our carbon footprint and improve our energy efficiency. It was funded through a government grant that we got, which was fairly tight in terms of like an application and then the spend, but achievable and in a large part due to good communication with yourselves and good sort of teamwork and communication between our two churches who share our building, ourselves and Spurgeon Baptist Church, and our architects, Grinley Architects. Here in Bletchley we're part of a diocese of Oxford, so the very top bit of Oxford diocese, and the diocese and the Church of England have a strong commitment to trying to make all of their buildings much more energy efficient and carbon neutral. And obviously that's quite difficult with some very old buildings, but we have a much more modern building, and this was a really good opportunity for us to sort of align ourselves with that agenda of reducing our carbon footprint. As well as obviously thinking long-term about potential savings, not just energy savings, but potential financial savings.
We also had a 20-year-old dragon of a gas boiler, which really needed to be replaced. So the timing kind of came together to work really well. We have an uninsulated building at the moment, and our plan is to insulate it, but the grant was only available within a certain time frame, which meant that the new system would have to work in its current form. So I was kind of anxious about keeping the congregations warm while we were waiting to insulate our buildings. And that did mean that the design was changed a little bit, just to modify this interim period. So we have ultimately got a hybrid system for the very, very cold snaps. And so far it's worked really well. The system that you offered, so the Heliotherm, was an impressive unit. It was actually the quietest of the air source heat pumps that were on offer. And that was important for us because we're quite close to some residential neighbours. So having a quiet heat pump was basically the deciding factor. Mark and his team were very good working around the community larder and the various other groups that met in the church. So that was planned ahead of time, and they stuck to that and got to know various people.
Yeah.
And I think they got 3 cups of tea and
yeah.
a few bowls of soup.
Yeah, no, everyone was very easy to get on with, and it was actually really fun having people coming and going through the building. It might not have been like hugely convenient for your team to have other people using the building, but you were very adaptable and accommodating of the fact that we didn't want to shut our building for the time that the installation was happening. And in actual fact, I think that helped us to a degree, because the congregations and the people who were using the building could really see before their eyes that the work was happening, and sort of hear a bit more about the project, why we were wanting to do it, and also that it's part of grander plans that we have for the redevelopment of our building. So it was, I think, to our advantage in many ways that we had to work around that, but you were very accommodating and friendly.
Thinking back to the spring, we had some cold snaps and the new system was up and running. We had a good level of heat, and we're confident that this coming winter we'll be fine with the new system. Yeah, very, very good. I think it gives us low level, comfortable heat for the majority of the day, which was different to our other system, which was sporadic heat for small intervals of time. So we get a much more usable building with comfortable levels of heat.
Yeah, and it was communication and sort of a high level of responsiveness as we were just getting used to the building, using the system, and helping us know what was actually happening with it and how it was working as we were sort of settling into using it. So that's been really useful because it's a completely different system to the one we've had before. So I've often brought groups who are visiting out to have a look up at the solar panels, which is always of interest to people, given sort of a high level of interest in people thinking about reducing their carbon use in their community buildings. And so yeah, and also the air source heat pump is quite a significant bit of kit. It's quite interesting to tell the story, let's have a walk around and look at it. And so just the visibility of the kit makes it an interesting thing to tell people about. And I think there's something quite really positive about a church committing to do something which is obviously of benefit to the environment and which is a bit more kind of long term, just rather than fixing an old gas boiler. Actually, let's take a step and make the most of an opportunity to do something which is going to be hopefully sort of a benefit to us and to the environment over the longer term. So that's good to be able to have done that.
I'd definitely recommend doing it. I think the advantages are clear, but you do need to spend the time in getting the right solution. So it's got to be tailored to your setup. So each building will be different.
Yeah.
Each level of use will vary. So having it tailor designed to your setup is important. So having the time to plan it is probably the most key thing to do. Allow yourself enough time.
Yeah.